Okay, recording in progress. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the March meeting. I think there for a minute what month it was. Oh my goodness. A March quarterly meeting of the Authors Collaborative. And we have basically 4 agenda items tonight, but they're a little bit of a heavy hitter. So I hope that we can maybe get through them and then have some time for some of your announcements, things that are going on. So if I could just ask, just because we do have a couple of new folks here again, if we could just go around the room, say your name and where you're calling in from. Dave, you can kick it off.
I am Dave Richards, and I am in North Andover, Massachusetts, a few doors down from where Sherry is.
Meaning in the same house.
In the same house. Nice, Dave.
Melody.
So my name is Melody Tigay. I'm coming from Long Island, New York, Middle Island specifically, which happens to be right in the middle of the island.
Nice.
Welcome, Jeff.
I'm Jeff Lefko. I'm calling from Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh,
Good. Over to Kat.
Hi, Kat. Catherine Phelps, calling from Chester, Virginia, just south of Richmond.
Yeah, going into the middle of the country to Mina.
Hi guys, I'm Mina Giuliopoli and I am calling in from Houston, Texas.
Good. And Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren Miller and I'm calling in from Methuen, Mass.
Good. And Ralph.
I'm Ralph Tufo. I'm calling in from Winthrop, Mass.
Michelle.
I'm Michelle Wilson, and I'm from Frisco, Texas, which is a little bit outside of Dallas.
And over to Melissa.
Can you hear me? I'm having
Yeah.
a hard. Melissa Coe. I'm from Hopkinton, New Hampshire.
All righty, welcome. And over to Robin.
Hey, I am calling in from Bolton, Ontario, Canada.
oh,
Yes, the neighbors to the north. Hi,
Yeah.
guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. As I mentioned, I have 4 agenda items. The things that I want to talk about tonight, number 1 is the newsletter. And then if Maggie joins us, Maggie's going to be talking a little about author events and ways that we can market Ella's Way. If she doesn't, I kind of know what she was going to be talking about. And then Dave's going to be talking a little bit about book donation packages and then some updates about the book award program coming in May. It'll be May. And then any other author announcements around the clock. Okay, so let's kick it off first with the newsletter. I sent out the newsletter yesterday. If you haven't seen it, check your email. It's there. I also posted on the website as well. The layout that I've kind of settled on for the newsletter right now is doing recommended reading, and that's when I pick 4 or 5 authors in rotation to basically talk about what your book is, drive them back to your author's page so that people can get a little more information about you, as well as the bookstore where they can actually purchase their book there. So there's recommended reading, so 4 to 5 rotating authors. I have an author's corner, and that corner is basically any events or things that the authors might be doing. It might even be something as simple as, what you did for the holidays or for Halloween, or any events or television things that you were doing, just basically what's going on with the authors in our collaborative. And then at the end, I've decided to add a section for highlighting either a special event or a nonprofit that's doing working with children as well. So you'll see that I had the Nora Project on the last newsletter, and then this month's newsletter had an organization which teaches children about basically the outdoors and gardening and things like that. And there were some other activities and things you could do with your children for spring events. So I just thought that seems to be working as kind of the layout for right now. If anything else special comes up, I'll do like a mid-month one. Like this month, we also did a mid-month newsletter about translated books. So if there's some specialty one that we want to do, we'll do that. And for the month of April, I think I'm going to do a mid-month one for books with dogs. because isn't April the month for dogs? Isn't it dog month or something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't do
Yeah.
my homework.
I think it's National Dog Month or something like that. And we probably have about 5 books in the collaborative with dogs in them right now. So Michelle's shaking her head and Kat's shaking her head, and I've got one. Yeah, so we'll try to get a mid-month one. But the one thing I have been struggling a bit with is the author's corner. So the activities and things that the authors are actually doing. I often have sent out an email that says, send me some photos about something you've done or participated in an event or something. And I'm kind of getting the same people sending me information all the time. So I'd like to kind of spread out the wealth on that. So if you have some special thing going on during the month, I know, Kat, you might have something coming up next month. And I know that Farron is in Scotland participating or presenting at an event there this month. So if you, and you don't have to wait for me to say, hey, can you send me something that you're doing? Just go ahead and email it to me and I'll put it in the queue for any upcoming newsletters. I've seen a lot of people posting things on their Facebook page and I'm like, oh, that would be a great thing to put in the newsletter. But I don't want to steal your photos and things off Facebook page.
Which you can do because it's out there publicly, but you told me a little while ago that you feel like you're creeping on them and everything. So
Yeah.
it is a collaborative. So yeah, be proud of what you're doing and send it along to Sherry so she can mix up that corner.
Yeah, I know, Mina, you just did a couple of presentations somewhere and a podcast and things like that. So just that kind of stuff, just send me any photos that you might have or links, and I'll make sure that I include that in it might not be in the exact newsletter if I've already got one underway, but it'll be in an upcoming one. So I'm happy to support you guys and get the word out about that. Sound good?
Yep.
All right.
Sounds good.
So I won't be creeping on you. Lauren, I might have creeped on a couple of John's things in the
That's
past.
cool. You know what? Creep away.
Creep away. All right, let's skip over Maggie in case she does show up in a little bit and talk a little bit about the book donation packages. I send out emails to you when we donate a package, and if your book has been included, you'll get a follow-up email, or it might just be a picture of a book and you'll see your book might be in the particular picture. We donated this month to the Mesa, Arizona school called the Longfellow Elementary. And they actually contacted me and I asked them to pick out, books that they wanted. So they picked out a 20 book package, and being a school library, they picked out mostly every hardcover book that we have.
Oh.
So, and if they have a couple of books left, they threw in a couple of soft covers, but not the hardcover ones. So that was a very hefty I actually had to split it into 2 packages. So
yeah.
And then we also donated to, we had a small donation, real small, it was a couple $100, from an organization that Jeff is associated with called Creamy World. And they made a donation that we could send books to Warrior Family Books for the NIC unit. So we were able, Joe Costanzo from that organization picked out which books he wanted to give to the newborns as well. So those 2 have gone out, but we're looking now, to try to keep active and donating more book packages coming up. And I know I got a nice email from Melody with some suggestions and ideas, but I wanted to kick it over to Dave to talk kind of about a little bit of a dilemma we're in with donations right now. So take it away, Dave.
All right. Hey, she gives me all the dilemmas. So we have to mix it up a little bit. Like I don't know if any of you like to dance. Mina, I've seen you on some video. You like to dance. But we're gonna have to do a little bit of a delicate dance now with kind of the state of the union, the way things are going, with some of the book titles and the messages, unfortunately. Not to get political by any stretch. I mean, I think pretty much we're, everyone somewhat serves, but you never know. People have their right to make their own opinions and everything else. But, I think what people do agree on is that, the world still needs to be kinder, and there's no shame or harm, we want more people to try to encourage kids to become kinder, so we'll have a kinder nation in general.
Right.
But with that, we have to kind of watch out for the terminology, whether it's DEI or whether it's SEL or whatever the case may be. So again, a little bit, we can't just decide, to send books and pack them up and ship them to a particular location thinking, they're going to love this donation, because there might be something in that they're no longer allowed to have, if you will.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of not a great state. So what we have to do is find out ways, again, to maybe kind of be proactive and
Right.
and make sure that this is going to be welcome, because you don't want to be wasting time spinning wheels and sending them and not having them be allowed to use them for whatever particular reason or whatever. So we have to do just a little bit more thinking and again talk about that delicate dance. So with that, if you could think of ways the places to send donations to, and maybe one of the things we talked about is maybe the school that you went to when you grew up, and individually maybe have the authors reach out to that school, and it would be a way to introduce that you had fond memories, and let them know that you've written a book, and you're a part of this organization, we like to donate, and kind of cross that bridge, and then that would be the way to initiate a conversation about that, and then test the waters and find out if they'd be welcome to receive those donations, whether it's a school that you went to, maybe it's a school if either you have kids or you have grandkids, whether it's a school that they currently go to, or maybe the school that you live in, or even if it's somebody that you want to make a donation in their honor, whether it's a parent or an integral figure as you were growing up, and have kind of like a symbolic, you want to donate this package in memory of that person. Whatever the case is, it would take for you to at least make that initial reach out and tell them that we'd love to do this. We want to share what we have to offer and all these lovely messages. And that gets around just us sending something that we don't know if it's not going to work, unfortunately. Because again, I think kindness is a universal language, and I don't think anybody will disagree with that vernacular terminology. So that's pretty much what I have on that. I think it's just a little bit of a way to circumvent that and maybe kind of grease the skids for us.
Yeah, and with that in mind, and I'm going to ask you guys for some feedback on that, is that, I think Melody, we talked a little bit about it in your email. You had suggested maybe, that we continue to ask schools which books they'd like. And I have no problem with doing that. However, I think that's going to kind of weigh in one direction or the other. It might be that school only wants hardcover books, or will only, if they were able to choose, the same thing could happen again. It's only the hardcover books, and then they're missing out on some of our other wonderful authors' books. So if we could still have some control over which books to donate, or maybe they pick, 10, or maybe it's a 10-book package and they pick 5 and we pick 5 or something, and I can kind of spread the wealth around to all of the authors. But if you guys, I know, Melody, you reached out to a summer camp, and Lauren, we've donated to a school in your area, and
they were very receptive. There was no hesitation or try or an effort to get a preview of the books that were coming, or they just were very grateful that you were going to be sending these books. I know you're trying to be sensitive to potential areas of discomfort, but I don't know if maybe I'm not sure if it's really so necessary. It seems like the books that we're writing about are totally apolitical.
I hate to say, I hate to say it, but it is happening. I know, Michelle, you're in kind of a quandary in your school system right now with Title I issues, but have you had issues with books on diversity awareness or anything? I know that there are some schools that diversity awareness.
So far.
Unfortunately, Mel, you wouldn't think so, but there is, yeah.
Yeah, but that when you put it that way, I'm thinking about SEL books, and I'm not thinking about the fact that some people are less comfortable with more diversity than others.
What about Michelle? What were you going to say?
So at our school district, they've put out a policy now that anything online that has the words SEL, we're not allowed to say that anymore. We have to
What?
say whole child. So we're doing whole child lessons. We're not doing social emotional learning lessons.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
You know what?
That's
You know,
Texas, though, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
what district is that?
Texas,
live?
it's Frisco
Texas. Yep.
ISD.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys saw, there was a video online a little while ago. It was a kindergarten teacher. And I think this is, of course, you can't believe everything you see online, but it was a kindergarten teacher who had a sign up going into her classroom that said, "Everyone is welcome here." And the school district made them take it down. The principal made them take it down. On the part of the school board did not want anything that had, something that was related to, differences in some way. So
Oh my
they had
God.
to actually take it down.
Where was that?
Oh.
Sherry, where was that?
I don't remember where it was. Did anybody else see
Was
that?
it Tennessee? I
never
won't.
saw it.
And the principal said it was because it was all the different color hands. The
Yeah, I was
statement
gonna
by
say.
itself would have been
It
okay.
was
It was
Yeah,
so
I
dumb.
saw the hands. They were like different colored arms, right? Yeah.
That's right. It said everyone is welcome here, so they had to take the sign down.
I
Wow.
think a lot depends on location, because I'm definitely in a red state, and the legislators in this particular state, South Carolina, have lists of banned books that
Yeah.
are no longer
Yeah.
available in schools and school districts. And then they also leave it up to the local school districts to determine which books should be even in their school libraries.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that just goes to the point why I brought it up then. So you don't have to waste time and money, quite frankly, sending them and then realizing that for whatever reason, whoever's decision it was, this
They
way, if we make that initial contact and we're pretty confident and secure that they're okay with receiving that type of stuff.
Sherry, could we put like maybe when we give them a choice, instead of telling them it's hard copy or not, just like one word, like this is kindness, this is anti-bullying, or this is leg braces, this is hearing aids, something like that, so they could pick from that type of list?
Yeah, we do on our website have a book sort, and it is under, it says book topics. So there is a sort of all of the different books, and and grieving, and anxiety, and ADD, or autism. So they're all broken down into particular categories. So I could send them to that link, and that would list out the different books that are in that particular category. And then maybe there'd be categories that they don't want to look at. So that's a good idea. We could do that.
Yeah, that could help streamline it a bit for them.
I actually had a question, because John's autistic. He wrote the books, but our books aren't about autism, but they're coming from obviously the stimming. So I'm almost wondering if we're fitting in like if we could fit in 2 categories.
Yes. I don't know if I did put you in 2 categories, but
Okay.
there are some other ones. And I think Maggie's books, yours might be in 2 different categories.
Okay.
Yours might be in 2 categories. So yeah, you can fit into more than one
Okay.
category, maybe 2 or
Okay.
3 categories.
All
Yeah,
right. I
definitely.
will say we just I know you posted it first on the newsletter, but we had the chair of Salem, New Hampshire women's organization reach out to us directly, because she does things on literacy and education in the library. She's the chair of that, and she was thrilled.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we had a better turnout. Unfortunately, we had to do it on a Saturday. So that was kind of a trial and error type of thing. But I actually made some nice connections through there.
Yeah, so if you have a connection there and you'd like to recommend, we may be providing a package. I may want to try to do 10 book package, like a book of 10, package of 10 books, and then spread them around more.
Okay.
Have more to do that with.
Okay.
But yeah, if you guys could, think about a school, as Dave said, and were you encouraging Dave, if they knew somebody at the school, to reach out, or to reach out to the PTO and introduce themselves. Is that what you were saying, right?
What do you talk about the us
The
authors?
donation. Yeah, what the
Well,
authors should do for next steps.
However they see this is the best avenue and road to doing it, is to reach out to the school or yeah, I mean, whatever way you think is going to be the most productive way of getting their attention. It's really just to kind of get ahead of the game and say, we want to do this, and if you get back and say, I'm sorry, we can't take these books or whatever, then
Yeah.
yeah.
And I also think it's really
Okay.
it is messaging, because really all the books are about kindness and
Yeah.
promoting that, right?
Right,
So even
right.
if you don't even if you don't use the words diversity, I mean, it's all there, but they're really about connection and kindness and how we can reach more understanding. And so without even using those words, I think all of our books actually fit into that. And that's actually really the primary message of Ella's Way and Campaign of Kindness anyway.
Right.
But I haven't looked at her website recently. So I know at some point in the past there was like specifically diversity, inclusion, etc. All of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now,
That terminology.
Well, can I just
Yeah.
mention, we had this discussion today in preparation of the meeting, and Mina, you're spot on. And this actually came up when we were talking about, Sherry will bring it up later when we talk about the award program. I said the same thing, loosely based. It's all really kindness related.
Right.
Even if it's about, what did we say? Somebody grieving, coping with grieving.
Yeah.
That may not be about diversity or whatever, but even merely helping a child get through grieving
Right.
is a kind gesture and a kind acting to provide the tools for them to be able to move on. So it is a based kindness. So it's a matter of how we, put it together, present it.
And also friendship. Friendship fits right in there, especially with the little kids, because they're learning kindness and they're learning how to be a friend and make friends. And we know, obviously, on the diversity side, that's hard sometimes. Yeah. But if we play it, the other way, I mean, it's just how you sell it, right, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not mean people. We're not trying to sneak anything in here. We're just trying to
these are universal messages, and and you
right.
can't control how someone receives it, but underlying all of that is all of those things too. But really, at the heart of it is kindness, connection, understanding, compassion, all of those things. And nobody's saying let's end that.
Yeah,
right.
I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think this is.
I just had another quick question. So I have a lot of people that John went to school with that had helped us in the past, like as far as teachers, special ed teachers. I don't know how Methuen schools are. That's a little bit dicey, to be honest. Do you approach that person like as a teacher, or do you go right to superintendent or the principals of the schools?
Yeah, I wouldn't go to superintendent. Wherever is the tightest connection.
Okay.
To try to feel it out. So if you're friends with a teacher or counselor or something, or somebody in, or it's a school that you went to and you want to reintroduce yourself to that school, make a connection with that person. And if they feel I've got to fly this by my principal first, which many of them will, start there. But I think the higher up you go in the food chain, the bigger chance we're going to be shot down.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a reason
That's what I thought, but I don't know anymore.
Well, the teachers are actually the ones that are doing the functional work and the teaching. So they want things to be easier for them. If you go to a superintendent, it's easy for them to make this because they don't want to get into a political,
right.
faux pas. So it's for them. It's like, no, we don't want it. No,
we don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, right. The teachers, if they feel as though it's not going to be an issue and not a hot topic or third rail for them, then it'll make it easier and they'll do it.
No, so you just come across and say, we would like to do a donation. Like even I could say, because John went there.
Yeah, would you be interested? Yeah.
Would your school be open to a donation from Ella's Way?
Yeah, well, why don't we I'll send out a follow-up email, maybe with some points and, highlights in it for you guys. And then the link to the, back to the page where they can take a look at the books. Maggie asked a question. Have we even talked about charter schools? I think I've donated to a couple of charter schools in the past. I know that I've read, but it was like a long time ago. I think
Okay.
everything right now has just become hot in the last, month to 2 months time frame when things are
Right.
changing very fast. So I just want to, be sensitive to it. And Dave and I've discussed it, and it's really a
Yeah.
shame that it's come to this. But I don't want to waste your books on a school that's saying
Yeah.
we're going to throw these out, or
Oh my God.
terrible,
Terrible.
whatever. I think we just
Terrible.
want to.
Yeah, can I say something? I think a lot of decisions about like, authors visiting schools or books being selected, a lot of that might come from the parent teacher organization. They're the ones that have funds, like a lot of them to like bring in an author.
PTO.
Yeah,
PTO more
PTOs,
than a
PTAs,
CPAC. Yeah.
PTOs. So those are kind of like the people, maybe they
Yeah.
would approach.
Yeah.
Well, they have in the past, and you're right, Ralph. I've actually written to PTOs in the past, and they've purchased books or they've asked for
Yeah.
donations. I think with the current climate, they're probably going to say, well, we can't do anything unless we go through the principal now, or we need to get this approved by the school. I'm just seeing this happening. I have a
Wow.
feeling. And I know I can see what Ralph's thinking in his head right now, because I've seen
can
it
tell you
on
something.
Facebook.
I can tell you something that you're probably gonna think I'm nuts. Well, which I am, but I would love to have some school or group ban my book. And I would put that into
Everywhere.
publicity,
Yeah.
and that is gonna help me sell my book.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I
So
had a
you wanna
family
ban my book,
refuse.
go right ahead. I'm gonna put that into publicity. This book was banned in blank, 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 and
Because of
I'm
this.
gonna
Yep.
sell a lot of books that way.
Yeah. Well, I did have a school
I'm not
that had to
afraid.
keep a child out of my author's reading of a book about, a starfish and meeting some new undersea friends.
Oh my God.
Okay, she
Seriously?
had a little girl, a little 5-year-old, had to go out on the playground and could not attend the reading.
Yeah.
She was-
Exeter, New Hampshire.
Exeter,
Yeah.
New Hampshire? Wow.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm not backing
Didn't attend.
down. They want to ban my book, go right ahead. And I'll put it in a newsletter, a Facebook, postbook, all
Yeah.
over that you ban
That's
this book
ridiculous.
here, and that's gonna sell my books.
If
Yeah.
anybody is
Great.
not following Ralph Tufo on Facebook, you should be, because he's got some pretty darn good stuff out there right now.
Oh boy.
All right. All right. So everybody's got
Hot
the.
topic. Hot
Yeah.
Get out
topic.
of my
We could go
system,
on and on.
okay?
Sherry,
Yes.
in the past, when we've had these meetings, like everybody's face, whether they were talking or not, was displayed. And then when you were talking, of course, maybe the face got bigger. But the way it's coming across now is that I can see like 4 or 5 at a time. But if I want, I'm not the person who's talking, I'm not always seeing, and someone's having to be deleted so that person's face goes on.
Yeah,
Or I
it's on
have
your,
to-
it's a setting on your end, Melody. You're on a
Yeah,
view.
I have to go, there's an arrow here that I can click and see some others, but before they were all displayed. So what do I have to change?
Up at the top on the right-hand side, you will have sign in, a
The
green
view?
little check mark. Click the view, and you're going to want to select gallery.
Gallery.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, I feel so much better now. Thank you.
I used to do tech support for 12 years.
There you go.
That'll be
Look, help me
25
get my
bucks.
computer running.
Nothing like technology, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I used to have phone calls with people all day, every day for like 12 years doing tech support. So you brought it back to me. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm
Send
glad
her
you're
an
definitely helpful.
Send her an invoice, Kat.
Better than
Well, you
Gemini.
You'll have to fill out a survey and let me know how I did.
All righty. I'll be very happy to do that.
And buy her book. Just that. Yeah.
All right, guys, more to come on that, but we couldn't let it go by with everything that we're seeing right now and some
Right.
feedback that we're getting. So
Wow.
it's happening. We've got to pivot in some way. So more to come on that. I'm going to actually flip it over to Maggie right now, because Maggie and another one of our authors, Noelle, had an event come up, and basically they had some ideas and we couldn't work it out for that event, but I wanted Maggie to kind of fly by the group and let everybody know what you were thinking and see if this is even something workable. So kick it away, Maggie.
Awesome. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Maggie.
Happy Sunday. Yeah, so I'll just do a little precursor of the scenario so you can all sort of get it. So Noelle and I are both in the state of Massachusetts. We live about 2 hours apart from each other, but we were both invited to attend this event. And it's not a huge event, so which is partially why it was easy to sort of let go. And it's very close to where Noelle lives. And so she was going to do the event. And I was like, well, I might do the event, maybe do the event, not sure if I'm going to do the event. And she's like, well, I can have your books on my table if you want. And I was like, that's interesting. So what if we made it like an Ella's Way event where, and I think I'm just going to, the fee to have a table was like $25. And my thought was, and I don't know if this is even possible or financially feasible, but my thought was, what if we did, instead of like a per author event, we did an Ella's Way table, and each author that wants to be a part of that pays $25, which is not a lot, to be honest, to have a table anywhere. And the author or authors that can attend sort of sell everybody's books. And so the fee goes to pay for the table. And then let's say it's $25 for a table. We have 4 authors, so that's $100 that comes in. $75 would then go directly back to Ella's Way to support the organization. And so that was the general premise. But then the questions that came up, which are 100% valid, is like, how do we, like, if I'm selling Melody's book for $10, how do I take that money and then get it back to her? So the financial piece of like actually transactionally taking money. The other piece was like, if I'm selling Melody's book and she says, here's 10 books that you can sell. If I don't sell all 10 books, how do I get them back to her?
Yeah.
Like, so there's a lot of like the logistical pieces are a bit more in question. So, but it's a thought of another way for us as Ella's Way authors to raise money for Ella's Way and also sell our books at the same time. So that was kind of the thought process that we went with. And I think there were more questions than answers, which is why we let it slide for this particular event, but worth sort of talking about for future events, or maybe 1 or 2 really big events every year that are in our respective locations that we could then do to help, support Ella's Way and also sell our books and support our fellow authors. And just a thought, throwing
That
it out.
sounds great. Yeah, you're right. A lot of logistics though.
What if we all just sent one book and then they could order off the website?
They'll never do it.
Well, I mean, they could sign up right then and there.
Or if you did a QR code where they can actually
QR code.
purchase the book, that's not
Yeah.
a bad idea.
Yeah.
The QR code would be good. Yeah.
We've done that with Warrior Family Books. They've taken the QR code for their library that's on the Ella's Way website, and they'll do an event and they'll have the QR code, and then people go to their library and can buy things. I'm going to agree with Lauren, and then not everybody will do it, but we did get it. We have had a few orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I tend to agree with Lauren as well, because I mean, how many times have you folks been at a craft fair or something and people say, I'm just going to walk around and come back, and they don't do that. So,
or do you
so
have a
they-
website? The minute you hear that, they're not making
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So-
like when they have it in their hand and they're like, oh, can I order this on the website? I'm like, why don't you order it right now? Like, buy it. But, you know how people are.
To Maggie's point, it's definitely got some interesting components to it. I probably one of those things that you put in the category of, it takes some thought, like, as I would tell my kids to do, a pro-con list, and you write down the pros and you write down the cons, and you kind of do that. Any big decision you come up with, you do the mental homework, and that way, if you decide to do something, and then we can try it. And then, like anything else, what doesn't work, we toss out. What does work, you keep.
I just want to go on record by saying, when Dave says he tells his kids about a pro-con list, that means he tells Sherry to make a pro-con list.
I tell Sherry, I tell anybody I care about.
Oh, Dave.
So, I think it was last year, Isai and I, were at, he invited me to come like set up like on the other side of his booth, and the two of us were there. And we had like in the corner a little like stand about Ella's Way. And so like it was the people who came, it was their choice to, buy my book or his, but we kind of made a deal. If you buy both, then you get a deal and that kind of thing. And and if anybody came on his side, like he would always talk about my book too, and vice versa. And I mean, it was really nice, honestly.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a bit of a framework that could work.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people would be wowed about the concept of all the different authors getting together with the same mission. I think
Yeah.
they'd be wowed with, hey, people are actually trying to put, some action into place. So I think there's some merit there for sure.
Well, hadn't you guys talked about doing some type of fair for Ella's Way, Sherry?
Yeah, we did.
You and I had
and-
thrown that around. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we did, and Dave and I got hung up with some other issues at the house, like
Well,
spending thousands of dollars
Like-
cleaning out a basement.
yeah,
flood.
waterproofing,
Oh, come
had to
Really?
sell the condo, my mother. Yeah. So life did get in the way a bit.
Hey,
I
yeah,
would
we're
just-
just trying to buy a condo and sell our house, so we
Oh,
know
yeah,
we
did.
know how you are. Yep.
But there is a place in Massachusetts that could potentially get 4 or 5 authors in. And Ralph did an event where there was 3 you and me and another local author at
Oh,
an
yeah.
event there. So we had 3 authors here. So there is some framework for authors doing events kind of together. So there's
Yep.
framework
Oh, yeah.
for that. But this was, like Maggie said, thinking outside the box, trying to look at selling the author's books. I just don't know about the logistics in that or not. And if the
I'll take
author
it.
wasn't there.
I mean, could we send the books back to Ella's Way and then it mails back through Ella's Way?
Well, then you're
And then
you're,
just
you're paying
mailing
for 2
and
shipments, shipment
I-
here and
I
shipping
like
it
the
there.
idea that Michelle had of having like one
one
book,
book. Yeah.
and doing like a QR code so people could buy it. So it is still sort of like if it's, let's say it's my
still
booth,
yours.
right?
Yeah,
It's
right.
still my booth and I'm still branding my way, but I
Right.
have like the fact that I'm, kindness certified by Ella's Way, and here's a list of some of the other authors, and if you want to be on my table, maybe it's not $25, maybe it's like $10. You send me
Yeah.
a book and
Yeah,
$10,
Okay.
and that money goes to Ella's Way,
Okay. Yeah.
right? So
Ella
if
Book
10
Way.
authors agree, then I send $100 to Ella's Way, and then any books that are
Yeah.
bought and sold come directly from you through that QR code.
Yeah. Or even
Well-
they might even just give direct donations to Ella's Way too, if the way we frame it at the table.
Yeah.
Like with John with autism, if we do an event for autism, some people will give us extra money.
Yeah, Warrior Family Books has not had much success with people donating money through
Okay.
a QR code right there on the spot.
Okay.
They've done like several farmers markets and booths and things that they've set up.
Yep.
And they said what they've had better luck with is announcing ahead of time and people bring a new book with them and donate a book to them versus buying a book there or
nice.
donating money there. So,
I guess
Okay.
some people may still question the validity of it, even though it's
true.
it's vetted. They may be like, they're sending their money away. They really don't know the end, who's getting it at the end, probably. So they're a little trepidation, if you will.
Well,
That's
the
But
idea is there.
I'll definitely do some homework on that, or at least put some thought. I'll do some mind dumping on that, and maybe some other folks. I'll reach out to some of the folks that aren't on this call. Maybe I'll individually reach out to them, and because I'm assuming they're gonna catch up with the video later,
Yeah.
and see if they got any ideas. So I'll reach out to some of the folks there, and after they watch the call, and maybe come up with some ideas. It's definitely going to be a situation where someone has a good idea, but then
You gotta work it. Yeah.
Yeah, in theory, it's great. In practice, maybe not, and just chip away at it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Maggie, did Noelle end up doing anything joint with you when she did her event or not?
So I think the event is still coming up.
Oh, it is. Okay.
I think it's in May. Um,
Where is it, Maggie? Do you
it's
remember?
near the Cape.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's through an event called New England Play Therapy.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's awesome.
So I can put that, I'll put the link in the chat so everybody can see it.
Okay.
If I can find the chat back, there it is.
I have a dumb question because I'm not super technical. Do the links that you're putting on this chat, does that go on the recording, or is you better snatch it now?
So
No, I can
you
save
can-
it. I save
when-
it, right?
Yep. So if you go to your chat, there should be 3 dots. Hold on, something is in the way.
Says more.
Yep.
Oh, no, 3 dots right next to that. No.
Unless Zoom has changed things. At the top of your chat box, there's 3 dots. So it says New England Ella's Way author meeting Sunday, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The 3 dots, you can do save chat,
Oh, okay.
and it saves it as a text file. So I usually and you can save it at the end of the meeting, like before everybody goes, just save it and then you have everybody's information.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? How I can't figure out how to put information into chat. I'm old in the way. But I mean, where do I go? I know I go to chat, but then what happens?
Bottom, it says message next Ella's Way, and it looks like there's text there underneath the blue meeting group chat at the very bottom. And if you actually click your cursor in that very bottom area where it says message next Ella's Way authors meeting Sunday 3:30 at 8:15 p.m., you can type in there.
Eating information? No.
So if you click on the chat at the bottom,
Chat.
and then a box will open up on the side of the windows.
It says
And
more.
Nope, just click on chat
Yeah.
and a
then
box should
click
there'll be a
type.
pop-up. And at the very bottom, you can type right in there.
Put a hi in there, see if it comes up.
Yeah. And I don't know. Leave me in the dust. I can't figure
Hey, I'm on my phone instead of a computer tonight, so I
I'll
feel
make sure
your
that I
pain.
save it at the end and then we'll include it with the
I really.
send
Okay.
out to everybody.
Ralph, I just followed you on Instagram and I added it. So,
Aw,
Thank you, Mina.
so everybody
so nice.
follow at Tufo Ralph. That's his Instagram.
Or at Seymour the Seagull.
Okay,
Seymour
I'll
the
put that in.
Seagull, okay.
At Seymour the Seagull. Yeah, that's it.
There you go. That's good. Let's see how quick some people can do it. I'm with Ralph. I'm looking out and reading smoke signals back here.
Wow, pretty good.
I'm doing cave etchings.
All right, let me move along to the next thing so we can see the highlights. of
Can I add one more thing that we talked about? Can we do like a regional Massachusetts fundraiser for Ella's Way?
I would
Sure.
love that. Yeah.
Meet somewhere in the center or somewhere geographically appropriate for all the people in Massachusetts.
Well, we got. What about people that are also right on the fringe in New Hampshire, though?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
of course.
Right. Yeah.
So if you could figure out a way, then we can maybe figure out a place or try to get like, funding from from the cultural councils, like Massachusetts.
We could
I've
try.
done it before, and
Yeah.
try to find a place, and see what we can do.
If
Yeah.
you happen to do it on the weekend of September 12th, I'm doing a keynote there in Boston. So
Oh, wow.
Are
you
you?
join too.
Yeah, we'll just come right on. Yeah.
September. I'm writing that down because even if we don't have the meeting, I want to meet you anyway, Mina.
Well, I tried to meet y'all last time, but you guys were on vacation.
We were away, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's
Well, we
necessary.
introduced you to a very dear friend of ours, Michelle Urban, the musician. So
No,
you
I,
guys-
I, I stayed at her house.
you hit it off, so that worked out
Yeah,
well. I'm glad.
that was
Cool.
awesome.
So
All right.
a couple questions or thoughts on that, what Ralph just said. One
Yeah.
is I've done a fundraiser before at the Amesbury Flatbreads.
Yep.
Yep.
So you have to book pretty far in advance, but they pay $2.50 for a small pizza order and like $5 for a large pizza order.
Oh, wow,
From
that's
like
good.
5 to 9. You can have your books there for sale.
That's nice.
And every time I've done it, I've made roughly around $500 to $600, like
Wow.
for the donation to whatever organization I'm doing.
That's
They're
great.
really good at it.
Yeah, awesome.
So that might be one. The other thing, and I don't know if they have this in North Andover, Sherry,
Mm-hmm.
but in Georgetown, they have this new thing called Awesome Georgetown, which is a national movement. I'm going to put it that way. So it's, awesome, whatever town you're in, insert town. And once they get, it's like a philanthropic movement where you get people that are fairly well off in the community. And they ask for local people to come in and pitch their ideas and why it's making their town better.
Oh.
They give away $1,000 every month.
Well,
Wow.
That's
It's an awesome, Michelle, you've applied. You've applied to the Awesome Foundation. I think you went to Awesome Disability. It is $1,000 a month. We've applied multiple times and have never gotten it.
huh. What about that kindness collaborative or whatever it is through Andover? They don't even want anything?
No,
Nah.
we
Okay.
we actually met with them. No, they aren't quite as kind as you would have.
Yeah, well, I'm so shocked at that. Yeah.
No, it was more of they were looking for us to give more than them give to us.
Oh,
Put it
yeah.
that
Yeah.
way.
Yep. Yeah.
So we do have a fundraiser that we're putting together right now with Auto Pizza.
Oh, good.
For, I don't know, upcoming in the next couple of months, Dave, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there might be
I'm not
some
gonna. I'm
opportunity
not gonna
there.
rule that out though. What Ralph brought up, even asking Otto about that. But we'll move on because I know we're looking at the time. But I wouldn't rule Otto helping us out with the larger location, maybe Sherry. For
Yeah,
that.
and the nice weather even and outdoors.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a good idea.
Yeah. What time
Okay,
we got?
great.
All right.
I like it.
All
Okay,
right.
I just want to give you an update on where we're at. As Dave said, the world has gotten in the way. Our life has gotten in the way of a lot of things over the last few months. So we've had to push some of this out a little bit, but I want to give you guys just an update of where we're at. Let me see, slideshow. All right, it's not wanting to do the slideshow from beginning. Okay, all right. So we are right now, as I'm still talking about, looking at an Ella's Way Book Award program in a way for us to bring in some more revenue, hopefully have some social media blitz about it. But Dave and I have been talking quite a bit about it, and we did put some framework together, but then we did at the last meeting, but we kind of had to go back to the drawing board a little bit and did some more work on it over the last couple of days. And Michelle, I just sent you some information, a rough
Zach
idea.
said he'd work on it tomorrow.
Yeah, no, there's no big rush on it, but I just wanted to get it out to you when I thought about it. But we're looking at an awards program. I wanted to fly by the framework, the kind of redesigned framework for you guys. So this logo is kind of the basic framework, what it would look like, but we're also going to be adding in, that it's the person who won the award is an award winner. And then we're going to have something around the outside of it that says, promoting kindness, or I can't remember the exact wording, but we'll have some more language about the Ella's Way mission around the edges of it. But the basic award would be an embossed gold sticker.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah,
remember
that's nice.
the
I
message.
think it was promoting kindness through children's literature.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Kindness
Yep.
through children's literature. I think we had in black lettering around it. But we like the look of the embossed, and I can't remember the exact, it's going to be the same size as the Mom's Choice Awards. Those might be maybe 2-inch stickers. Good size sticker once we get it all set up. But so that's basically just generically what it's going to look like. So let me go to the actual program itself. let's see. Course. There we go. Okay, so basically an overview of the program. We're gonna, after Media Blitz, any interested authors will be completing an application for the award and submit a PDF as well as a physical book to Ella's Way. We said PDF because we might have some other interested people volunteering to read some of the books. So we want to make sure that we had a PDF. But I also would like them to send a physical book as well. I think illustrations, you'd be able to see how the book is laid out and everything with a physical book. But also, we could then donate that book to an area that we decide. It might be a summer camp, or the books might go to Warrior Books, or they might go to a foster care organization or a reading group of some kind. But basically, we wanted a PDF and a physical book, and we'll put the application on our website. There will be no fee for the application, and that is completely different than any other book award program. And I'll tell you why we want to do it that way. I personally have a problem with taking somebody's money and then they don't get anything if their book doesn't get the award. They basically lose their entry fee. So that's just a personal thing on my thing. I think people should be paying only if their book met certain criteria and we decided that it was award worthy. And that would all be explained, the fees would be explained in the application, so it wouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Okay.
Books would be reviewed and rated based on a scoring criteria. So there would be a scoring methodology, and that would include things like content, editing, illustrations, the message of their book. Does it align with the Ella's Way mission? So basically, we would have a scoring. It wouldn't just be kind of willy-nilly. But all book submissions would be non-returnable, meaning if they sent us a book, they're not going to get the book back. Then we will donate that physical book to a charity in need. And it might be that it goes to, like I said, foster care, summer camp, Warrior Books, wherever we decide, we would give that physical book away somewhere, or collect a whole bunch of them as we, if we get more than, hopefully, than one applicant. Okay, there will be 3 package levels. So basically 3 levels of awards. They will, a package level will be offered to every award winner that scores within an established scoring range. So if we say that an award-winning book would be criteria needs to meet with between 50 points and 150 points, they got to fall within that range for us to even consider saying that they're a book award winner. If they fall below that, then we would send them, a very nice, we can't send, you didn't win the award. But basically, if they met in that scoring range, then they would be offered an opportunity to purchase a package at a fee. And there would be package 1, 2, and 3. Dave named these, right, Dave? There's a standard package, an excellence package, or excellent, we can decide the terminology, and then an elite package. Those packages would have certain money attached to them. If the author is an award winner, they'll be notified and given the opportunity to choose which package they want, and then they would pay the fee for that particular package. If the author is not an award winner, they don't pay anything other than the cost of donating a book to us.
Which is cheaper than the minimum I've seen is like $60 out there, but there's a lot of them are way more than that.
Yeah, 60 to 500, I guess, for a Mom's Choice Award books. And if
Correct.
you don't get a Mom's Choice Award, you're out $500.
So quick question, what happens if they win, but they don't want to buy the package?
Then they don't get anything from us.
Yeah, I asked that question, Robin. Great question, because I asked it. What if they're like, well, wait, I win, but now I have to spend money, but it's still better than them applying and not winning and losing. It's like, hey, put your money where your mouth is. Then you win, and now you get to,
It's
promote
basically a delayed payment. They didn't pay the $60 up front. They only had to pay the $60 if
It's
they
a
met all the
far,
criteria and won.
it's a far better deal than a lot of the other ones where you have to pay up front, and if you don't win, you get nothing. So
That's
there's
right.
Nothing out of it.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I
apply.
agree.
And again, if like they probably wouldn't apply if they didn't have an intention of wanting to have the award if they won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and it would
Yeah.
be spelled out in the application, so they would know that if you
Right.
won, we're going to offer you these. If you don't want to pay them, like, kind of, why are you applying and sending a book?
Yeah.
You know, we're going to just donate your book anyway.
Yeah,
Right.
don't,
Yeah, that's a good
don't
point.
apply if you
So
don't
level one is the
wanna pay.
standard level. So an author, if they choose this level, if they meet the criteria, they would receive a certificate of excellence that would be mailed to them. They would receive a virtual book award, and they could share that on their social media. And then we would give them access to online if they wanted to pay for extra stickers other than the virtual one. So the
Okay.
gold seals, if they wanted to buy more of them. And Julia NASA sent me some costs today, and those can be pretty expensive when you start to buy those stickers. So we don't want to just give them out unless someone wants to pay a little bit more money for them. But if they want to buy some stickers at this standard level, they can do it. And the author's fee would only be $25, and that's
Okay.
nothing
That's really good.
to what a lot of other awards are out there. So now we may decide this is only for the first year, and next year it goes up to $40 for the entry level, but that would be the standard levels. And since we're just beginning, we didn't want to, just have it be totally unattainable either. Level 2 would be the excellence level. It's a $50 fee. They'd receive the certificate, the virtual book award. They would get 50 physical book stickers, 50 gold seals, and then access to buying more on the website if they wanted to, and they would get a one-time promotion on our social media. And then the highest award is only $75. The elite level, they get the certificate, the virtual sticker, the 100 physical stickers, access to buying more, one-time promotion on social media, and then a one-time feature article in our monthly newsletter. So the rollout would this be now would too for over the next month, convening a subgroup of the volunteers just to tighten it all up, to finalize the sticker, which Zach will be working on for us. Thank you, Michelle and Zach, to review and approve the scoring method, pushing towards a potential go live date of May 15th. After a social media blitz, we would want to get as much social media and have you guys really share it out there that this book award is coming. You guys would all be award winners as well. You would get a certificate. You would get the physical stickers as well. Virtual gold seal at the same time. You are already part of Ella's Way, so you would all get that. And my goal would be for the rest of 2025 to try to get 100 applicants.
Nice.
We could, as I did with informational sessions about Ella's Way overall, we could say for the first week in May, we offered, 10 half-hour Zoom sessions to talk to any potential authors about the program. That's just an option if people wanted to Zoom in and ask questions about it, or even for us to talk more about Ella's Way and what kind of books we're looking for and things like that.
Do the winners automatically become part of Ella's Way?
No, we had talked.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop
So
the
I was
share
wondering
here.
about, yep.
Yeah, we had kind of talked a little bit about that, and Dave and I bounced that around, is that the book, we don't want to have too many authors within Ella's Way, because we will dilute being able to buy books from everyone. Basically, we want to be able to put our money back to the authors. If we were rolling in all kinds of grants and everything, and we could afford to have 100, authors in the group and buy books from everybody, we would do that. But I think if we want to be a little more selective, suppose somebody met the criteria, but it was just borderline whether they, should win or not to win. And maybe we end up with 50 books that are all on autism,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, but I think it would give us a nice group to say, every quarter we're going to pick, one or two of the winners from our award program and offer them the opportunity to join Ella's Way, something like that. but I wouldn't want it to be an automatic, right, Dave? We talked about that too.
Yeah, because then you're kind of really handcuffing yourself with it. Like you just said, we could have a certain subject matter. Well, we're trying to diversify all our different, there's so many different ways and issues that people are dealing with. We want to kind of have, pretty much even amount of books based on different topics versus, lopsided with one topic or, another. And then we're like, well, we've already got 10 of these book, and then
Right.
if we approve this person, and so it gets a little bit cloudy that way.
What if you guys did it, you know how you started off as far as like giving offering reviews and things of that nature, and kind of do it as a tier? So if you win, you have access to this. If you win another one, you have access to this. And then that would still give them publicity. They'd have the sticker, and you wouldn't have to necessarily bring them into the fold. They would be in the fold on an outer way. Does
Well,
that
that's kind of
what you're doing?
That's
A little-
kind of what we were thinking about.
Okay.
Bringing in all of, having authors that apply, and we might very well say that love your book, but it doesn't fit within the mission
Right.
of Ella's Way. So
Okay.
unfortunately, we've got to turn it back to you. But we get 10 authors whose books look great and they all meet within the criteria. We're offering you an award package. Which
Right.
package would you like? And
Okay.
then of those 10 authors, maybe there's one or two that we think are just amazing. And we decide,
Okay.
you know what? Let's
Yeah.
offer those two an opportunity to come into Ella's Way. We have a little bit more control over
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
it that
Yeah.
way.
Are
And then
these
just like sharing everything, like bring
Yeah.
them in and say, this is what a collaborative is to us. We
Yeah.
like to share people's ideas and books and things like that.
are we welcoming books of all sorts, like chapter books and novels, or are we sticking to picture books or
Yeah. We're going to stick
Okay.
to what the original Ella's Way criteria was, that it had to be for ages 7 and under, and
Right.
have a message that's similar. And we'll put that in the application or overview. We'll have this on the website where it has to relate somehow to the mission of Ella's
The
Way.
mission.
I can't say
Okay.
social emotional learning anymore. Whole
Yeah.
child.
Unbelievable.
Can I ask a logistics question?
Yeah.
Since I don't know who the judges will be doing the scoring grid, but how do you get the physical book from one judge to the other? It's like $5 to mail a book.
Yeah, we won't.
Why-
We'll require a PDF from everybody. So we'll
Yeah.
have them send the PDF directly to me and send the physical book directly to our address, and we'll hold those on. And then whatever authors would like to volunteer and help out to read some of these, maybe it's a couple of books a month or 3 books a month just to read and score. We'll be talking about that more within the little subgroup, how many volunteers we would need for reading and
Right.
scoring. But then they would just base it on the PDF.
Right.
And I
Okay.
might
So,
be able to be the gatekeeper and say, yeah, I got this book in and there's no way that this is even going to meet any criteria whatsoever. And then
Yeah.
we won't even send that forward to anyone else. We'll have like a gatekeeper system.
but the judges only get the PDF thing. Okay,
There
great.
we get the PDF.
All right. I know some people, a couple have to drop off.
Yep. So how's it sound, everybody?
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Great.
When is the deadline? What would be the deadline for people to apply?
Well, we'll kick it off. It'll be ongoing. We'll talk about the subgroup, but I think it would be ongoing. We would open it up for admissions for, we'll set a certain time frame for, maybe 2 months. We're accepting, submissions for our award program or something, and have a cutoff date. And say for the next 6 weeks, we'll be accepting books for Ella's Way, and the criteria is on the website, the applications on the website. We'll have to come up with a social media blitz for it, but
Cool.
Yeah.
good.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. I know we're coming on the end, but I want to go ahead and make sure I save this chat now that make sure that I'm doing it the right way. Maggie, you said the 3 little dots at the top. And I can save. Let's see. Save chat.
While
Yeah.
Sherry's doing that, when we go back to that discussion about writing to the schools about asking if they're open to getting donations, if any of the schools have any questions and you want to forward them to me, they can reach out to me at at Ella's Way, and we can encourage a conversation with them about what we're doing and what we're all about and everything else. So that's if anybody's if they seem kind of like what's this all about? What are you talking about? And if they want any questions, you can forward them to me.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
I
guys.
think it's, I
All
think it's
right.
important.
Thanks for coming. Have a good rest of your
Alrighty.
night.
Yeah,
And
nice
we'll
to
be
hear.
back in
Nice
touch.
to see everyone.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good seeing everybody. Thanks for your help.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
How do you leave? I can't leave. I can't leave. Oh.